Hi, welcome to Copeland's Corner, and I'm filling in for Brian Copeland. Tom Sawyer here, and Brian is doing his Thanksgiving shopping. And oh my God, I forgot my Thanksgiving hat. Oh well. Anyways, we have a great show with you today, with Laura House and Robert Mack and Scott Silverman. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that's in the news as always, and of course it's Thanksgiving, so we got things to be thankful for, things to be unthankful for. But we're gonna accentuate the positive. What's that song from? Eliminate the negative, perpetuate the positive. I don't know. Let's call the whole thing off. You skipped off to another song, since nobody knew that one. Mr. In Between. There it goes. There's the brain. How the brain.
Jungle Book. What was that?
Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Something. I can't remember what that's from.
All right. As soon as we log off,
somebody will put it in the comments below, and they'll win this fine shirt.
Oh.
No, I'm not giving away the shirt. So anyways, welcome everybody. What are we all doing for Thanksgiving, Laura?
Oh, wow. I tend to skip holidays. I'm the terrible one to ask. I don't like to, after years of stand up and you don't do normal things at normal times, I can't stand it. So the week after Thanksgiving, we're going to see my fiance's mother, but just on Thanksgiving, I don't know, I'm just cooking. I would just have vast amounts of food, but just for us and a friend. Actually, comedian Graham Elwood is coming over, and we're just gonna, and he's vegan. So I'm useless at Thanksgiving. We're just gonna eat regular food, and maybe, I was wondering if Dave and Buster's was open, to be honest. I thought it might be fun to go play video games.
Yeah, I don't think that's highly unlikely. Chinese is what I'd go for.
Oh, all right.
You might be safe with Chinese. Robert?
Well, it's a tradition in my family because I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and so the tradition is that we sit around and watch the Lions lose a football game. Usually the second loss of the week, but things are much better now. And speaking of gratitude, I'm grateful that the Lions are doing very well, and they've won 10 times this year. And so sit around, watch the Lions, and have a small meal with the family. I got a couple sick family members, so we're keeping it indoors mostly.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, that's the tradition that the Pilgrims and the Indians started back in the day, the indoor Thanksgiving. So
may I add something that accentuate the positive was featured in the 1944 movie Here Come the Waves, which I've never heard of.
Wow. There we go. Thank you, Robert.
Good night.
So you moved, where are you living now?
I live outside of Washington, D.C. I live in a suburb in Maryland.
Oh, nice. Nice. So you have crab cakes at your beckoning call.
Yes. But also I've become a sort of a news junkie, and everything is political, and everyone I know knows someone who works in different offices. And so it's a much more claustrophobic vibe here with everything that's going on.
Yeah. Well,
stressful.
Yeah. And it's, Maryland and DC are kind of small places with lots of people as it is. So I'm sure that, I'm sure most everybody in DC is in Maryland as well is very political and works in Washington. So
certainly around where we are, there are some burbs way out as it gets close to West Virginia where I don't think they're engaged at all. But certainly here, it's top discussion every day.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. My life's been full of anxiety since the election. I can't imagine what it's like out there.
Well, here's a little secret. If you're feeling bad about yourself, just remind yourself that somewhere there's somebody who's hurting even more, and it's Maya Rudolph.
Yeah.
The real victim in all this.
Yeah, the real victim. She had a 4-year gig that she was planning on.
Gone.
That'll be Scott.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Well, I don't like Thanksgiving. I think it's I mean, we did steal this land from the Native Americans. And as a Zionist Jew, the whole, stolen land thing is sensitive right now. Also, I have an eating disorder, so I eat too much during Thanksgiving, and I used to get super high and just eat everything, but I quit pot. So
Holy mackerel.
I know. So I think I will probably be waxing my car.
You could be waxing other things, but the car, that's fine too.
What?
You could be waxing other things, but your car, I guess that's good.
Oh, the car is much more important than other things. And I have two of them, so I got to really work on it, and it's what keeps me shredded. My car has a good body, so do I. Because
wax on, wax off, buddy.
That's right. But as Dan Gabriel says, I just wax off. I love that joke.
Dan's going to be on the show actually in I think a week or so. So
I love Dan. He's my bestie.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. So, just recently, talking about news things, we had a former Cobb's Comedy Club alumni and mega multimillionaire Ellen DeGeneres moved from the U.S. to England permanently.
Wow.
Hi, bitch.
And yeah. So
she floated out that Netflix special that said, "Hey, screw you, I was nice," and then left the country.
Oh, she was such a not nice person.
What a bon voyage.
That's too bad. That's kind of an interesting topic because I don't I know the Ellen DeGeneres that came through at Cobb's, and I knew she was, we knew her to be a career-driven person, but she was super nice. And I've tried to explain this to some people how it doesn't matter what kind of power it is, but power has a tendency to corrupt. And I think that when you're at the top of the food chain, especially in your little kingdom, and all the people that say to you, "Hey, that's bad, don't do that," they start to get fired for things and moved out of the office and pushed away. And then it becomes all the people that give you the green light constantly. And from what it sounds like, that's the case of Ellen, because I don't know did you worked on the show, Scott?
No, but several people that we both know did.
Yeah.
And they used to tell
Karen Anderson's going to be on the show too. So
I knew those writers.
Yeah. It's some more people too, who shall remain nameless, but we'll talk about it off.
Yeah.
She was just a bee, man. She was just don't look me in the eye. And the whole she's the lesbian spokesperson. It was I'm more of a lesbian than she is, and she's just untenable.
Well, I heard Letterman was like that too. That kind of don't look me in the eye. People would have to clear the hallway when he was walking down to his office or to the stage or wherever. I don't get that vibe. I know Leno.
Well, I'm like that, so I understand. I'm very don't look me in the eye. So I get it, but I have no power, so it's more fun.
I definitely know that
Makes less of a
Bill Maher is an asshole. So
that's why I didn't get my own show, is because I'm not like that. And
yeah, they said we want to give you your show, Robert, but you're too darn nice.
Yep. And I had a great name for it. It's called Don't Go to Bed with Robert Mack. It's a late night show.
I've heard that, but not as the name of a show, as a warning.
Huh?
You were saying, Laura?
Do you become a jerk, or was it you were a dormant jerk and then now there's no fence and so you can let it out? Or do you
what she said.
A nice person and then you twist into a jerk? Which is it? Is it case by case? Because some people are super successful and very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I've worked with two monsters.
Do you care to say, or you're?
I don't think I can say,
Okay.
but they're very well known for being monsters. It wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. But I've worked with two. One, I'm not saying who, but is another lesbian talk show host who's been incredibly successful, but literally yelled and like picked up steam as she yelled. Like a friend described it as like a portal to hell opens up when she starts screaming at you. And like, I mean, she loved it. I mean, had like the face of a playground bully, like, and another thing. And it was crazy.
Did you know them before?
No. I think it's like AA, how people, like, once they go sober, they blame whatever their intoxicant was. Like, they're like, oh, it was the alcohol that made me do that. It was the, heroin. I'm like, no, it's that you're a dick. And what that did was it lowered your inhibitions. It's like, I don't blame pot for any of the stupid mistakes I made. And I bought a Ford Focus. So, it's like, I can't blame the weed. I can't blame the weed for this haircut. Sorry.
Yeah, there's some people, I remember, when Kevin Pollak was coming up, we were all going, man, if he ever gets successful, holy shit, he's going to be an asshole. And he
really?
did the opposite.
Oh.
He was like, he totally chilled and totally was the nicest guy on the planet, and ridiculously grateful. Where like somebody like Bill Maher, who everybody suspected would become a worse person, became a worse person.
Everyone proved correct.
Yeah.
I respect that he labels himself a jerk, to be honest. Like, I respect that he's like, look, I like the sex I like. I'm kind of a jerk. Like, this is who I am. Like, at least that's been my issue with other, a couple other people that have been coming, the idea that like, no, I present as everybody's best friend, and then secret monsters are the weirdest kind of monster, because you're like, it's a friend of mine said, for the person I worked with, said watching her yell at her team is like watching Santa Claus kick a puppy.
That's good.
Because he was a young gay guy, and she had been super inspirational to him. And then he worked for her and was like, oh, we just get screamed at till we cry. Okay, interesting. For like somebody with really no problems in the world,
Yeah, I'm always amazed by that. And I'm always amazed when it comes out that someone's really behaves badly, and then they act like, oh, they can't be talking about me. And I'll know about 5 or 6 people that are like, who are they? Of course they're talking about you.
Oh, yeah.
Just, I know you want to present to the public that you're the person they see on the television and not this horrible human being. But I think, like I said, I think for some people, success and power, they believe that I have to be a jerk because I'm the boss. Because that's why
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they think they have to. I think like people just get really defensive. Like that's what I felt like when I worked for this person up close. I was like, she's so scared of failing right now because she, it's suddenly all this like, oh, this pressure on me and you don't understand. And, very, Scott, when you mentioned AA, that very like, I'm the most unique person in the world. You don't understand. I don't, so they're just kind of mad all the time. And that's the quality I found, was just this extremely defensive. I also thought the two monsters I worked with, when they yelled at us, I was like, oh my God, the way they talk to themselves is most like 10 times worse. Like, they weren't like relaxed people who found a way to yell at. They were like, everything sucks and what's wrong with you? And so that's what came out, I felt like.
I think the best thing that when somebody is not like their stage persona, I always tell people that's why they call it an act. It's like, it's an act. Like Margaret Cho, very quiet and reticent off stage, on stage. Hello. I'm kind of just a deluxe version of myself. So, there's less of a jump. But also I'm who I am. But there's so many people Like, I think, oh, fuck it. David Feldman is kind of who he is
Oh,
off stage.
oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
imagine,
Like he said something so gross to me that my boyfriend wanted to beat the shit
Oh,
out of
wow.
it. He's like, "Do you want
No.
to step outside?" And I'm like, "You can't beat up the headliner, but boy, are we gonna have fun later tonight."
but I can only imagine that, and then you add a team of people who are paid to say yes to you, and all the power that Tom you mentioned, and then bags of money that, as a stand-up comedian, you've never seen, and now it's falling out of the sky. So all that at once, I'm sure some people have the ability to recognize, oh, I'm not going to fall for this trap and become an evil person. But everyone else, it's like they're feeding me, they're making me do this.
I also think too, I mean, I don't want to get into defending Ellen too much, but I mean, you spend like a good portion of your career hiding who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to talk about things that we take for granted, or most of us take for granted.
Yeah.
But Scott, you were pretty open, like
From the minute I got on stage.
Ellen was not. She was, but she wasn't pretending to be. She wasn't pretending to be heterosexual on stage, so she wasn't going my boyfriend jokes.
No, just in that movie with Bill Pullman.
But like Todd Glass, staying in the closet until 25 minutes ago, and now he's repping the gay community. I'm like, excuse me.
Well, it's cool now, isn't it?
No, it was.
No, you missed the boat.
It was cool in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was cool in the 90s. I think being gay now, it's like, especially I'm white. I'm Jewish and gay and married to another white guy. We might as well be straight. We are so boring. We're not trans. We're not lesbians. It's so disappointing. I'm such a disappointment to like everybody.
I've been saying that to gay people for months.
Yeah, they're just, I mean,
get more interesting.
All my friends are straight men, and they're more interesting than me.
Get a cool tattoo or something.
Oh, that is 90s. That is some fucking 90s. The only interesting thing about me was the pot and the cars. I still think the cars are the most interesting thing about me. You're gay and you're like, cars? Oh my God.
Oh, I thought you meant that you still play the cars. Rick O'Casey.
Oh, I love the cars.
I thought it meant because you have a Ford Focus. I was like, wow, people can't get over your Ford Focus.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've made mistakes, but I still have my Integra, which is now iconic. So everybody can kiss my exhaust pipe.
I bought one of the first Hyundais, or whatever you pronounce it. That was what a death trap. I mean, honestly, I never felt so unsafe in an automobile in my life.
Really?
Oh, they were ridiculous.
What,
I think
when they first started,
I think I could dent the outside of the car
brakes?
by hitting my elbow on the inside of the car. So, okay, stunned everybody. So, I know like a bunch of people who worked on Bill Maher's show who it was one of their worst experiences ever, including David Feldman, Jim Earl, Kevin Rooney. Kevin Rooney walked out. He was the head writer of the show.
Interesting.
He walked off the show.
I know a guy who's been there like 20 years, but I haven't followed up with him on what it's like. But he probably has,
he's probably got Bill Maher's dick in his mouth.
Maybe there has to be like a group, hung on to a group for a while. I guess you can.
I don't know how you could do that unless you had really low self-esteem.
I don't know. Yeah.
I saw him. I don't watch the show. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I see clips every now and then on YouTube, and he was taking down Neil deGrasse, which is like pretty ballsy. It's like something about medicine, and Bill was in a mood, and the show was and I'm going, wow. Neil, it really has a great demeanor, because I would be like, okay, that's it. Clip, gone. See ya.
Let's stop talking about these comics. I mean, they're just so gross. It's so funny because in the 90s, the rock stars were, who we listened to, and they were all feminists. And now we've got, Joe Rogan and what was that twat who was on the Republican National Convention? He was
guys.
Hinchcliffe.
It's like that's who we've got now, and they're like pushing feminism back 1,000 years. So,
and Joe Rogan has 2 daughters. I don't understand.
That he doesn't care about, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And votes against and moved them to a state where they're a second citizen. If they get pregnant, they can't leave the state. They have to report to the state. Because, hey, nothing spells democracy like state forced pregnancies. So that's where I'm going to move to if I'm a liberal guy. But Joe, obviously, that train's left the station.
He was kind of cool when I first met him because I opened for him a couple of times for 12 years,
twice a year. Yeah. And I really dug hanging out with him. And when he started the podcast, I was going, oh yeah, that's Joe. That's the Joe I know, the third eye guy who takes DMT and trips and talks about, pretty liberal stuff. I mean, if you watch clips from him.
He was a Bernie guy.
Yeah.
And what happened?
I think what the Democrats did to Bernie made an impact among
Bernie.
Yeah.
Enough already. This country would have never elected him. We're too anti-Semitic, and we have had that proven.
That's okay. Even if we hadn't elected him, but what the Democrats did was bizarre. Like they were like, we don't care how many people listen to you, how many people back you, we are shutting you down.
We still would have never.
But a lot of people, it doesn't matter.
Oh no.
It was
they shot down his message.
It wasn't like run for like having him be the contender, but he was shut down. Put him on your cabinet. Utilize people who like him in some way. But
they should have done that.
Like, fuck you. Yeah. It's Hillary's turn, and a lot of people, including myself, were like, "What are the fucking Democrats doing? Like, it's not a monarchy. You don't just pick No, not you. Like there were tons of people who
imagine if they made him the vice president choice.
Utilize them in some way, but just to shut it down the way they did, they turned off a lot.
Never gonna elect a Jew. Never ever. I'm getting such hate on my YouTube page.
That I'm not saying he had to be the candidate. They shut the whole thing down, and then they did not even utilize him in any way.
Or the message.
That's what I'm.
What way were they going to utilize him? She didn't win.
Put him on the cabinet. No. Use him. Go. Oh, you know what? A lot of voters listen to you. Then we too listen, and we're listening to them. But the Democrats didn't, and a lot of those people left.
You announced that he's on, not just endorsing.
A lot of those people voted for Trump. A lot of those people were like, "I'm really into Bernie," and then they're like, "Fuck it." The Democrats aren't listening to anything.
So shoot yourself in the face. That just seemed like a really bad move.
You can ask them. I mean, I did not go over to Trump, but I'm certainly understand why people are I'm not baffled why people are upset with the Democrats.
I will say this, though.
It's not a mystery.
I will say this. Because this has been driving me, this whole thing was driving me nuts. You elected an adjudicated sexual assaulter, a guy who self-confessed sexual assaulter, a felon, a con man. These things have all been adjudicated, or he's paid off lawsuits and whatever. But these are known facts. But regardless, when I was listening to, I listened to TikTok for as long as I could stand it, and people calling into other people who are liberals, just asking a simple question, why'd you vote? And if they were pushed back on anything, they had no answer. They had no answer. They were just like, well, it was that's what I heard, that he was going to be good on.
Yes. Eggs.
Yeah. Eggs.
Have you heard Dana Gould?
Yes.
Dana Gould's like, how many eggs were people eating? How is that? No more civil rights, but eggs? Who's eating all these eggs?
But I think Tom makes a good point. They had a lot of people show up who are low engaged voters who got a poor message or an incomplete message, and the only thing they heard is the Democrats are executing babies and eggs will come down and all the lies because they have never voted before and they didn't do their homework. And
don't forget making you trans in the school bathroom. They were just changing your gender as soon as you
Right.
walked into the school
So
bathroom.
many lies. And then they just lie on lie. There was just no even undoing any of them. It was like just
Yeah.
spew more lies. Like it was like that not
It's like
DeSantis.
whack-a-mole where they all come up at the same time and you hit
Yeah.
like 3 of them, but it's like no fun because here comes, you can't do it. You can't do it all because you got all these people on CNN going, wait a minute, I'm not done. And they spout out 5 more lies. And then finally, by the time you get a chance to talk, you've got 20 lies that you got to push back on in detail. And you get to 3 of them and they got 17 of them in.
But you think that these super libby, left wing Gen Zers are smarter than that? They're at Columbia, for God's sakes. And, I've met some who are brilliant.
I don't think there's as many of those as you think. I think it's mostly really dumb guys. Let's face it, a lot of guys voted.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people who I don't care. You can talk about strategies. To me, like the only 2 things the Democrats did wrong was Biden should have never gone to try to run again. He should have been one and done the day he put his hand on the Bible and said, by the way, I'm not running
Which
again.
is what he said.
Exactly. He did say that.
I heard a statistic today that most of the new voters that Trump got are college uneducated, and that explains it. They're not critical thinkers. They get their news from TikTok. They think that we're changing everyone's gender at school and killing babies, and the economy will be better for us. And that's all they need.
Then trans women are winning all the Olympic medals.
Right. And if you live in a society that doesn't have news that people can agree on, and all of your news comes in your specific silos, and how we go forward
especially when those silos are funded by billionaires, which is, I'm working on this big agenda of how to fix the United States. So we'll get to that in the future episodes. Yeah, just a hobby.
I got a few minutes now.
Old, you start to
for president.
Yeah. So I've actually been talking with Nicole Boxer about it, who was a guest on the show a couple of weeks ago, Barbara Boxer's daughter. So we got some really good feedback on some of the stuff. But one of the things, of course, that to me is interesting about the cabinet choices is I thought the smart play would be to lay low for the first 2 years, because history proves that the Republicans are going to be out of office in the House and the Senate in the midterms.
Right.
But they seem to be like pushing as much as they can right from the get-go, which to me means unless there is no election in the midterms, they'll say call it off, that there's going to be that should be a landslide like there was during the first Trump administration, when there was a landslide in the House, in the Senate, in his midterms when he was president the first time. So because I think honestly, the Democrats are getting more and more, leaning more and more towards a Bernie agenda, because that's the thing I've been talking to other people about, and they're ahead. They go, yeah, we're ahead of you on this. We're done with the old stuff. We're going to be working on a more populist message that is going to get the things done that got Trump elected, like fix the freaking immigration system in this country is ridiculous. And because, of course, billionaires want cheap labor. And so
that's the fix. The fix is on.
Right. So it's this balance of vilify and exploit. So, and that's, of course, is always amazing to me when somebody like Elon Musk, who pays horrible. People think this guy is their bro. He's my bro. Elon's my bro. He
They're
pays
also anti-union.
Yes.
Like, everyone should get to be in a union who can.
And his workers are paid.
Everyone should have health care. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. He doesn't give
so weird.
Pays them garbage. And they work 12-hour days and with no overtime, because that
explains the quality on those cars.
Which and of course it explains how he's managed to lose 80% of Twitter's the value that he bought it for. I think it's worth like 12 billion now from 44 billion when he started.
And he's going to be in charge of efficiency. It's a clown show.
Yeah.
But my question is, in 2 years at the midterms, are those same people, the people who got conned into voting for cheaper eggs, they're not going to come out and vote because
we have to remember something, Robert, that Obama won by a landslide the first time, a legitimate landslide. And the second time he won by one of the highest, still a really high margin, like close to like about 6 million or 5 million votes. So I think there's a middle in this country that is like, okay, if enough people convince them that Coke Zero is great, they'll leave Diet Pepsi, and then later on, somebody that can influence them. That's why they're influencers. They'll influence them the other way, and they'll be okay. So I think that's going to be the future. Is how do we trick these people into voting for their best interests?
So it's the least informed people that we're fighting, we're vying over.
Oh, goody.
Thomas Jefferson once told me, he said, our survival, an educated citizenry is a vital requisite for our survival as a free people. And that's what it comes down to. If you're uneducated and can't think and don't know the topics and don't know the candidates and don't know the bills, then you vote based on influencers.
It's not an accident.
Vibes.
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 Yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah.
I have a college education, and it's not worth the paper it's printed on because it's in communication from before the internet. But the most successful people that I know, especially in show business, didn't set foot in college and are very intelligent people. And that worries me because, college is millions of dollars now. And the fact that the successful people that I know went against the grain, they were naturally intelligent, so maybe that has something to do with it. I think school and college is just learning how to jump through hoops. It's not even about learning how to learn. It's really a myth. And all these kids are being put into enforced labor because they're going to be paying off their college loans until the supernova. And I think it's kind of a hamster wheel situation. Like none of these kids are learning any kind of skills. I'm a communication major, and yes, I used it because I'm a stand-up comic. But, as far as like anything tangible, what do you do for a living? I talk into a PA system. It's like that's it. And I'm lucky. But at the same time, a lot of people want to do that and they're not. And I don't have a $200,000 debt. I went to state college and I worked the whole time. I didn't even know you could get loans because that's how long ago it was. I didn't know you could get loans, and thank God, because I graduated without any debt. But I think these kids are getting on a hamster wheel. Including me. I kind of want to like learn a skill like body work or something like that. And with cars, not people.
So you
combine them. Nobody does that.
Is everybody?
I don't want to touch.
They
I've
wash
touched
your car,
enough
rub your
bodies.
shoulders. You're out and out. You're both out and out.
I'll detail your face and your car. I've touched
Who wants
enough.
the super wash?
Yeah, get one of those. Is everybody here at college or?
I'm college.
Yeah,
I'm colleged. I'd college 2 degrees, but the point is, if societies become something where news and newspapers don't exist and people are only informed through influencers, how do you maintain a society if people believe nonsense?
Well, that's the problem we had with as soon as we started letting billionaires buy up the media and multiple media outlets. That's where this
And we let
whole thing
pharma do commercials. So
Yeah.
now doctors just wait for you to ask for the pill and then give it
which
to
is
you.
unheard of in other countries.
They slag weed, which is probably the only thing that's going to help us. It's like I took some, of the man's meds for a while, because I was sick. Oh my God, the things that it did to my body and mind. No, thank you. I mean, I may have quit pot, but I will never, ever speak against it. I think it's amazing. And Big Pharma hates that. I worked at a dispensary and I know that Big Pharma was coming for us the whole time. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate.
There's no way out, Robert, to answer your question.
There's no way out.
I feel like you asked a sincere question, and we're basically it's a big lead up to say there's no way out.
It's like the Dark Ages. It's people are going to be wandering around uninformed, and it's going to be the 1300s all over again. And then what comes after that?
Well, if there's a shift in the pandemic and it mutates into something stronger, that'll take care of a lot of our population, because these guys are all upset about putting masks on, and some are getting vaxxed. That's the amazing thing, is how many people I've lost to either Trumpism, or anti-vaxxers, or the real crazy ones, the people who believe like teachers are assigning gender to kids, in grade school. I lost a friend on that one. Yeah, I'm going. Where do they?
Especially teachers. No, that's hard. That's a hard job. You can't assign. You can assign homework, not genders.
Yeah. Well, they don't even. I taught for years. They don't even do their homework. Who would think they would turn a different gender just because they don't even read chapter 3 when you ask them to. Nobody's go anyway.
And changing
boys
genders
are girls
is
and
hard.
girls are boys. Anyway, we'll have a pop quiz on Friday. No one's doing anything.
I don't even know. I don't even know how you get your brain to go there. That's the thing, is I thought she was joking at once.
Isn't it because Tucker Carlson and whoever else do bombastic extrapolation on podcasts? And so it goes from, yes, there are transgender people and they use the bathroom to, they're in the bathroom waiting for your children. And then somebody says it and then millions of people hear it. It seems to me that's where it goes, is that, and then that stupid fear-based soundbite is echoed in the churches and the community center and whatever else. And by people who have never encountered a transgender person
most people haven't.
Not to brag.
Not knowingly.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
No, I went years ago, where I went to visit my dad and he was in the hospital, and I would go to the public pool. I would go swim in the morning and then go visit my dad. And so I go into this pool and I just asked, and I used to be a lifeguard at this pool. So I asked this woman I actually used to work for and said, "Oh, where's the locker room?" Because it all looked different. And she said, "Well, the women's room is over there unless those transgenders get things the way they want it." And it was such a bizarre insight into the thinking of like, I'm literally just asking where the locker room is, and somebody has you so worked up about something that's not happening. Like, that's just what she spewed out at me. It was the weirdest. This was like 5 or 6 years ago.
If anybody's going to attack you in a bathroom, it is a Republican congressman or senator or page.
Yeah. If anybody's having sex with people in the bathroom, it's these dudes.
Group leader.
Yeah.
A priest. It's
But again, it comes down to
I'm Jewish.
Or the president of the United States.
P.S. A dressing room.
The felon.
The felon will be in your 14-year-old girl's beauty pageant locker room, making sure all the contestants are the right gender. So,
did you hear that?
What rolled off that guy?
Did you hear that Grindr crashed during the Republican National Convention? Not during the Democratic one. The Republican crashed.
Oh yeah. Well, is it really? I mean, just from Lindsey Graham alone.
Nailed it. So did Lindsey
I
Graham.
smell an unfollow coming.
Lindsey Graham is like, I was just trying to listen to this podcast and I get attacked.
So, Scott, you're I always wanted to get a Tesla. That was my dream until in the last year and a half or so. But you left. I posted something about Elon, and you started talking about the car itself, which led me to believe you know what you're talking about. So,
well, luckily, my pretentious father was an early adopter, and aside from range anxiety and build quality that makes Jaguar and Volkswagen look like Honda and Toyota. Fun fact, the NUMMI plant up there in Fremont was closed down by Toyota because they made such terrible Toyotas that it was dragging Toyota's reputation down. So they closed it down. So Elon bought it and hired all those people back, because you know what you do when there's some shitty people working on cars is you make sure to hire them. So my father had a Model S and a Model X, which are, not cheap, and they should be built better. They had such problems, and, my father doubled down and got another one. And I could not believe, I had to take it in because that gigantic screen stopped working. So no air conditioning, no navigation, no nothing. And he was leaving town and was like, take care of this. And I don't know why I'm such a people pleaser, but I did.
Yeah, maybe he meant take care of this, like shoot it in a alleyway.
Well, that would have been him. I would shoot him before I'd shoot the car. But
have you seen the thing that blows my mind? Because I live in Marin, California, and I've seen about maybe 24 of those awful gray truck, whatever the hell.
Oh, the Cybertruck.
Holy God.
We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that. But let me tell you about this screen thing.
Stunningly ugly. I mean, just like jaw-droppingly.
It's a Pontiac Aztek and a DeLorean had a baby. Or a DePlorian, I've heard. Anyway, the screen brought down the entire car. So I had to drive it down there. And the problem was, this is what brought down the entire car, is he had not deleted all the destinations from his nav system.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just as a car, it's setting the rest of the car industry back because people love those stupid screens. And you can't open the doors. When the power goes out, they brick. You can't tow them, and they need a lot of towing. The door on the Falcon door on the X, always getting stuck open. And my stepmother had one. I'm like, just open the other one, go to the top of a hill, punch it, and you can fly down to the service station. They're awful, awful cars. And they also, I have a Civic, and the Model Y, I think that's it. The Model 3 is the competitor. It weighs 1,500 pounds more than a Civic. So all those cars are breaking up the infrastructure. They're the cars that are giving us potholes, cracked roads. Also, if you have one of those, your shocks are going to go faster, your tires are going to go faster, and your brakes are going to go faster. And, but I don't have to get gas. You have to queue up for 45 minutes. Me and Dan did a show in Santa Barbara, and we accidentally didn't know that it was a little farther than it was. We had to find a Tesla charging station in the middle of the night in Santa Barbara, which of course took a half an hour. And oh my God, we had a great show, but the audience came into the McDonald's we were waiting at. Not glamorous. They see us getting Tesla when we're leaving, oh, look at this. And then we're eating at McDonald's because we can't afford real food. I mean, they are lifestyle ruining cars. I mean, they are just so bad, and they are ruining cars for the rest of us. And the Cybertruck is a joke. It has had more recalls than fucking Gavin Newsom. I mean, it is just the worst. Even the windshield wiper has been recalled because it's stops. It's the size of a Louisville Slugger, and it just stops right in the middle of the windshield.
I saw a video on YouTube of a guy testing out the trunk, or the whatever you call it, the back of the truck, that's supposed to have a sensor that will not close if someone's hand is there.
Yeah.
Did you see that? He put his hand there. It was like, ah!
I think they should all put their heads in there to see, it's like got its own guillotine feature. I mean, those cars are toxic masculinity on wheels. It's like that makes a Corvette look like a libtard car.
I have yet to see a woman drive one of the 24 that I've seen. It's always been a dude that's been driving one of those. And I'm like, wow, you really have to have one about this yay big to, if you think that's going to make you a man's man.
Like sports cars always get the rep as being penis extensions. It is definitely trucks, because nobody's going to have a little tiny thing that goes fast represent their penis. Whereas a giant thing that you can see from across the street, that is what people want representing their dicks. But remember, they can't get those things into a parking space. That is a warning to all women and some men that, if they can't get that into a parking space, you're not going to enjoy their company.
Yeah. I wanted to throw this out to you guys, because I think we've all had a little bit of time to reflect or try to get past our feelings about this last election. But because I always love the pundits that always have the answers after the fact. No one's screaming about, what they're doing wrong. But I think, we obviously have things that we've talked about already, like the media is a huge issue. But I also think that the Democrats need to come up with a real solid plan for the next time. And it's not just don't elect another woman of color or have her be your nominee. But I think it has to be, they have to come up with a game plan that's going to reach, as we just mentioned earlier, the uneducated voter. So other than giving everybody a puppy, if anybody has any thoughts that something they'd like to see, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I mean, the felon is a media specialist, and he knows how to attract viewers, and that's how he was able to get all these people. And the Democrats need to make better use of their communication skills. Maybe we a communication major in there, hint, hint, Scott, and then be able to connect, because they're not able to connect with people.
You must. Well, yes, I would love a charismatic leader. I mean, someone who can talk to people. I mean, Pete Buttigieg is great. And
he's wonderful, but he's gay.
No, I understand. If he's not a contender to be a candidate, we need people like that. People that get heard, people who can talk to the other side, people who can say things.
What does anybody think about Gavin?
I like Gavin Newsom, but a lot of people don't. But I also would love to see a real plan to support the middle class, which I don't. If people are comfortable and can afford things, they're not as mad. Like, it really is a hard time right now for people. Like people with one job have 3 jobs. Like that's not okay. Like the giant companies actually being busted up would be great. Like there was a Facebook needs to be broken up, says the Biden administration day one. And I didn't see any of that. I don't see monopolies getting busted. I don't see everybody just plays to corporate,
power.
The opposite of what Bernie was doing, which is because nobody wants to shake the money tree away. And I think that's one of the things that the Democrats really need to figure out is how to get away from their masters, from their billionaire masters, because that's what's happening right now.
That's what I felt like. Like the other side is like, yes, we're billionaires and we have billionaire masters. That's our brand. And then the Democrats are like, no, we love people. But then they don't.
We need the money.
They love
Yeah, they need the money. And that's what's so sad.
Yeah.
Is money really rules everything.
Yes.
Yeah, until you figure out a way to get rid of the money with, and you need somebody who's going to do the message Bernie had. I mean, when you think about like how close Bernie came to being the nominee, considering, as you mentioned, that he's Jewish and that he's like the Yul Brynner of, not the Yul Brynner, but the Walter Brennan of politics. The guy he looked like he was 80 when he was 45.
Yeah, he's cranky grandpa. There's all kinds of weird stuff about him. But yeah, like, the power of people that he harnessed, you know, that would have been great energy moving forward. And it
seems he's handed that baton off a little bit to AOC, and maybe she can add some energy to that. But
Scott has an opinion.
Scott has an opinion?
I'm not going to share it. We don't have
You
enough
don't like
time.
those letters, AOC?
I think the thing that the Republicans do well.
I did.
Yeah, what the Republicans do really well, and they did this to Hillary early on, is they find a nominee and they just try to destroy that person, and it doesn't matter when. They started right away with AOC. They started right away with Hillary, and this is just when she was the first lady. They already had her pegged as being the nominee in the future. So they're great at just destroying somebody. By the time they get to to run for the presidency, they're already labeled, even if it doesn't matter if it's wrong or how far off base it is.
That's it. It's all branding and communication.
Yeah, they're great at that.
Why can't we, like, it's like, if they're going to play that way, why can't we talk shit? Because like, Republicans want to win, Democrats want to be right. And I get it, because I want to be right, but I also want to win now. And now it's like, by any means, honey, if they're going to fight dirty, I don't understand this trying to be better, trying to not fight dirty. Like, when I would, because guys would come after me, like, like after shows, I'm like, I will kick you in the nuts or punch you in the throat. Well, that's not fighting fair. I'm like, I want to win. I don't want to be fair. Yeah. I want to get out of here alive without getting blood on my car seats.
Yeah. I do. I agree with that. I think the thing that always blew my mind is, why aren't, if somebody's there being pro-Trump, why aren't you asking them a question of like, yeah, I get that you're pro-Trump, but what is it about a rapist that you like? What is it about somebody who rapes women, who literally forcibly, grabs them? Admittedly, he just grabs them. How many times do you think he went wrong on that? He misjudged the person he was grabbing, and that became assault. So obviously you like somebody who assaults women. So what about it is that, do you like?
That's how I fight.
Tom, cheap eggs.
Yeah.
That's how I fight. And
policies,
it does not work.
But that's my point, is I would be the guy who would constantly be asking anybody defending Trump, what about a rapist is the thing that, is it something that turns you on sexually? You get like all aroused in the voting booth when you're thinking about how he's raping somebody, that makes you all, this is my guy. Is that, I would be relentless. And I think that's the thing about Democrats and political pundits. The other side plays ugly and gets and says ugly things about Kamala or Hillary or Obama with the birth certificate. It doesn't matter. They get ugly. In the meantime, we're just being all nice. I don't think it's appropriate to bring up that he's a felon.
I love being ugly. I mean, that's kind of what we're supposed to be as stand-up comics. And I am a battleship, and I will just keep blasting until they will either unfriend me, walk out of the room. I mean, I literally had an argument with somebody a couple of weeks ago before the election, and I was blasting away at him so hard, he left the event we were at with a big door slam. And I'm like, and people are like, you're a dick. And I'm like, I'm also right. And you're a wimp, because these people were just like thinking like me, but they won't do anything. They sit on their hands and their tongue. And I'm the mean one, I'm the one who communicates, and I feel a certain way.
Yeah. Obviously, Scott, you've lost some people, and this whole thing is, how many other, Robert, how many people have you lost to what I was talking about earlier, Trump or Vax?
I've noticed I have this weird following online. I have a lot of blue state people who like my act. And then because my act is clean, I have a lot of conservative religious types who follow me. And I noticed recently, a couple, 3-4 weeks ago, I posted something that was political in nature, and 2-3 people had enough nerve to write back and say, "How dare you make fun of conservatives?" And it was okay when I made fun of the other guys, but 1% of my act is making fun of their team, and all of a sudden that's it for them. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. You can't.
But the libbies can be a little rough too. Like I got yelled at on my Instagram page for misgendering my car. One of these days told me that it's like cars are women. I'm like, that's ships. And of course I double down. I'm like, hey, if you can pick your gender, I can pick the gender of my car. And by the way, there are male cars, Kit and Herbie. And oh my God.
Those are women. What a wild stance.
Wow.
I'm just all like,
never heard that. I never heard
me neither. But it's just like,
I would think by the muffler, like if you held the
What?
car upside down, you'd go, that's a boy. Right? Like if you,
Well, I just said
throw the
you just-
muffler,
you-
like
you
you would
just-
go,
it's
oh,
the
that-
stick
you just
shift.
mentioned the
It's
muffler.
stick shift that makes it
Yeah.
a boy. It's the
yeah,
stick.
there's several things.
Yeah.
So gross.
I was just on the road. I was in Arizona and Utah and Nevada, and there were a lot of red people. And I just put in the chat, I put in the sticker that I made. So I started selling the sticker. And it was interesting how I kind of got a cold shoulder from some guys. But for the most part, the women loved it.
What's a sticker?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. Can you see
Oh.
the chat?
Oh, can you?
It's
No,
like
I
the
didn't.
evolution of man, but it goes to woman.
And it's one little thing that some people just they cannot wrap their brain around that, because how they were raised, or how their church or how society has informed them. And
No.
I want a woman president so badly. So bad. Because I've always taken my marching orders from women. Like,
But not just any woman. I mean, there's so many.
I'll take
It
any
was
woman.
even a few years ago was like, there was Hillary and kind of the end. I mean, half of Trump's cabinet are women, but I don't want
they're
any of them
also
to be
evil.
president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't just want a woman president. Like, it's possible that there will be a female president soon.
Well, of course it has to be the
Beyond-
right woman.
No,
Not just
of
anybody
course,
with a
but I just
badge.
mean, like, it used to just kind of be Dems that were the choice and women, and it's like, no, there's crazy town. women.
There's Le Pen,
There's Nancy Mace.
Well, again, like half of his cabinet is women. He appointed a woman chief of staff with a higher position than any Democrat has ever put a woman. Like, he's like, there's powerful women.
Hey,
on
there
that
were
side
Nazi
that are
women. So,
disturbed.
women aren't perfect. I'm saying the right woman. It's like,
It wasn't Elliot, Ron.
what?
It wasn't. Okay, forget it.
I heard you. I liked it.
Okay. Thank you. Well, anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. And really appreciate you guys being on the show today.
It was so fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody, we'll go clockwise. Anybody got something to plug?
Oh, man.
Right now.
First in LA sober comedy show. It's our last one for a while in Los Angeles at the Crow. Sunday, 7 p.m. at the Crow in Santa Monica. Yeah, Party On sober comedy show.
Oh wow, that's cool. I want to be
people-
there.
For people in DC, I'm headlining the DC Comedy Loft this weekend after Thanksgiving. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. All of my stuff is at robertmack.com, so you can go there if you want to find out where I am and check out my calendar and clips.
If you want to hear me droning on more about cars, shocking, go to my Instagram page, Scott's Autobiography. And you can join in the mayhem that is my 37-year-old Integra's gender dysmorphia. You can share your feelings. You can see pictures of them and see if you see some boobs. One girl doubled down and said, not only is Cyril a boy, he's straight.
Ah.
So see that, because I'm an internet guy and I like cars. So, see that. There's actually a lot of Elon Musk jokes on there. Shocking.
Yeah.
Look for look for the Elon Musk stuff. I think you'll enjoy it.
Cool.
You
And
can't spell felon without Elon.
yes.
Elon.
Yes.
Full circle.
Yeah. There we go.
I'm at laurahouse.com and on Instagram at I'm Laura House.
Cool. Anybody else? Okay.
You got mine.
You can go to TomSawyerVoices.com to find out more about me and my little voiceover career. Oh, I have an announcement to make. I think I can make this. I just found out Friday that I have a gig being the AI voice of NVIDIA. So
What's NVIDIA?
It's AI, a big, gigantic AI company. It was one of the biggest.
Wow, congrats.
I'm so scared of those, but yay.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Also, you can see a documentary. If you go to my website, there's a link to Tubi, and the documentary is also on Amazon Prime about Cobb's Comedy Club, my former life as a comedy club booker and owner. And so the documentary is about me and the club, and that's called The Comedy Club, which you can see on Amazon Prime, Tubi, Plex. All your streaming, those 3 streaming places at least. And there you go. Great having all of you on the show. It was so much fun seeing you. I haven't seen all of you in so long, and it's so I love all your faces. It's just great.
I know. I miss you guys.
Yeah, not that face though.
Yeah, it's nice to see some old faces. And man, seriously, I haven't seen some of you guys in forever, and it's nice to hear and catch up a bit. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, let's wave goodbye
me.
to everybody. Thank you guys for being on, and we'll definitely have you back.
Great.
Yay.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Tom. Bye.